Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. Growing your own garlic rewards you with an amazingly aromatic and flavourful garlic. And producing your own is really easy. It's just prepare your beds and get it planted. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'll be planting my garlic in this section of the garden where I planted it a couple of years ago. The corn finished a while ago, but I did just leave the stalks in while the frost beans were finishing off, and I got them harvested a couple of weeks ago. So it's all good to clear out all of these plants, get some compost on the ground and get the garlic planted. Not too many other plants to remove here, just a few of these sorrel and some random carrots because this was the former carrot patch as well. But you can see here, just having a look at it, the soil is just there. Once again, we need to pile it up with some of the mushroom compost that I've got. But first, let's get to clearing some of these plants out. Now, being no dig makes these garden beds really easy to clear and prepare. I'm going to just be chopping these plants right at the ground level and leaving the roots in the soil to rot down. I'll just have to be mindful of when I do come along and plant my garlic to plant sort of on either side of where these roots are. And all of this can head off to the compost. Now these sorrel plants have spread right around the garden. They are great to add to salad mixes, but I've got lots of these. They have a really deep tap root, which is hard to get right out, so I don't dig them right out. I do just cut them off like that with minimal soil disturbance, but you can see there, they're quite the tap root. They're in the dock family. And I'd be just going too deep to get that out. So what I'll be doing, during the season is just coming along and keeping on chopping that down. And eventually you do eradicate the plant. That garden cleaned up quick and easily. So now it's onto getting the compost onto it. Now I have mentioned before that in the developing stage of this garden, I am relying a lot on a commercial mushroom compost. It just helps to get it in bulk and get it onto the gardens to help cover up the soil and move the gardens into sort of a more productive space. I do add my own compost as I've got it, but it does take a lot of time, so I don't beat myself up over buying in some compost to help get everything going. I will be adding some of my own compost on top, but it's more like a mulch rather than a fine compost. So I'm going to get the garlic planted. Now, in this box, I've got all my garlic. I did buy in some new varieties this year, including a couple of different varieties that I'll be planting in another month. I hope to extend my harvest with these. They store really well and they need to be harvested November, January, whereas all the others are sort of October, December. So I'll be planting those a little bit later. But the new ones that I've got are Flinders Island Purple, Tasmanian Purple, and I've got an early purple as well. I've also got my homegrown variety, which is a white, which I think is probably a Melbourne market, but I'm not too sure. And a homegrown purple, which is probably one of these three here. But again, I didn't write it down. Now, I've already separated out all the cloves. You do have to be careful to leave the papery covering on, which didn't happen for all of them, but most of them turned out okay. Now, so that I can keep a track of the different varieties, which I haven't done in the past, I'm going to plant them in blocks, and I'm going to just use these tomato stakes as separators so that I can keep a track of what's planted where. So first up is the Tasmanian Purple, and with each of them, I will be just spacing them out so that I know I've got plenty of room for everything and that they're spaced well. Got my Tasmanian purple in first, and then my Flinders Island purple, and this one's the early purple. So I've got 50 cloves, so I'm going to space them 4 apart, which means I'll need to do at least 12 in each kind of row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, we could probably space those little ones out a bit more. Now the homegrown purple, 49 cloves, and a similar amount for my homegrown white cloves, which is about 48. Now this garden widens out down this end, which means having the 12 rows will be fine. They're all spaced out now, so I can get them into the ground. Now all the cloves, they need to be sown 4 to 5 centimetres deep and sowing 10 to 12 centimetres apart. So they're well and truly being given that space. Now to get these 240 or so cloves into the ground. The roots will grow from this end here and it sprouts from the pointy end. So when planting, be sure to put the flatter end down and the pointy end up. Now to get my compost onto the bed. This compost dried out a bit and didn't decompose fully, but will make a great mulch. Another thing I'm going to try this year is growing mustard alongside my garlic. The frost should kill it off before the garlic really becomes large, but because this one is a non-edible, I won't be tempted to leave it and I'll cut it down if it's just getting too big and impacting the garlic. But while it grows, it will feed the soil and help build it during the year. One thing that I've never been great at, but I'm going to start to do, is actually updating my paths at the same time as I'm updating my gardens. Not only is it great to have a mushroom compost pile so you can replenish your gardens, it's equally as good to have a pile of wood chips at the ready so you can update your paths and use it for creating new gardens. The wood chip paths are an integral part of my no-dig garden. Not only are they a moisture sink and capture the rain and hold it in place, it's also an area that creates its own compost, and you'll find the roots of the plants growing into the paths and really making the most of the nutrients and the moisture there. Well, there's not too much to be seen for all the effort, but come November I should have a beautiful crop of garlic. If you'd like to see what I make with all my garlic, I'll leave a link to 2 videos at the end. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.